The purpose of this video will be to cover some basic guidelines for the exams that you will take in this class. What we're going to talk about are my expectations, how you can be expected to be graded, how to use the program that will administer the exams, and also a few points about how to study and prepare for the exams. So first, we should probably take a look at when the exams will occur. So each exam is going to take place during 1 week of the course. Exam 1, for instance, will take place during week 4, while exam 2 will take place during week 8. Also, another thing to notice is that these exams are not cumulative, right? So, of course, the first exam will just cover material that we've done through the first half of the course, and the second exam in week 8 will just cover material in the second half of the course. Now, if you want to see some details about exactly when the exams are, of course, you can always consult the syllabus. So if we take a look at the syllabus, and we go to the course schedule, scroll down to week 4, then you can see that we'll be taking exam 1 during week 4. The exam will become available on Monday, September 21st at 8 a.m., and you will have to submit your exam by September 25th, Friday, at the end of the day. So you'll have Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, anytime within there to submit the exam. And the same holds for exam 2, which will take place during week 8, which will become available on Monday, October 19th at 8 a.m., and you'll have to submit by Friday, October 23rd at the end of the day. Okay, so that's when you will take the exams, but the more important question perhaps is, what should you expect from the exams, what will the format be, and how should you prepare? And here, the best place to go would be to the study guide exam. So you'll see that I'm on our Moodle page, I'm in the general course information and resources area. And here you can find the study guides for each exam. I'm just going to go over the study guide for exam 1 because the only difference between these exams is the content. In terms of format, in terms of my expectations, in terms of how you'll take the exam, nothing else changes. So it'll be sufficient to just go over exam 1. So let's take a look at the study guide. When you open up the study guide, you see that there are some basic explanation of what to expect from the exam at the beginning, and then after that, if you scroll down, you'll see the possible essay questions. Okay, so let's just start off by saying a few things about the format of the exam. So both exam 1 and exam 2 will have the same format. They will consist of 2 essay questions. Each essay question will be worth 100 points. That's 200 total points, so each exam is worth 25% of your overall grade. Each exam is worth 200 of the total 800 points in the class. Now, okay, so when I say there's 2 essays you'll be required to answer, the first question should be, well, where do these essays come from and how do I prepare? So if we scroll down in the study guide, we can see that here are the possible essay questions. And you'll see that right now there are 4 of them listed on this document. So here's question 1, there's question 2, 3, and 4, right? And those are all the possible essay questions for exam 1. So the thing to notice about that is that these are the possible questions you could see. You'll see 2 of these 4 questions on your exam, and you'll also notice I'm already giving them to you. So this should already give you an indication of what the best way to study would be. Right, because you already have all the possible essay questions, I would really recommend beginning to prepare your answers as soon as possible. And by that I mean once we've covered the material, especially because this is a truncated course, it's only an 8-week course, it makes it even more critical that as soon as we cover the material, I would go ahead and start writing out your answers to these questions. And again, just think about how much easier life will be when it comes to exam week and you've already written out your responses to these questions, or at least you have a solid rough draft, which then you just have to go and modify and maybe do some proofreading or make sure you're explaining points clearly. But in any case, the system really is set up so that you begin to prepare as soon as possible and don't have to save your preparation for the last minute. But in any case, you will see 2 essay questions from that list, and you will see them, they will appear exactly word for word as you find them below. Nothing will be changed. Okay, so the next question will be, so I have to answer 2 of these 4 essay questions. You might say, do I get to choose which of the questions I answer, or is that decided for me? And it is decided for you, right? So you will not be allowed to choose. And how this is going to work is the program that administers the exam on Moodle is going to randomly select 2 of those questions. So the 2 questions that you see on your exam may not be, very likely won't be the same as the questions that one of your classmates sees. And if you're wondering how does that program work, at the end of this video, I'm going to take you through just a demonstration of how to use the program and how to upload your answers. So we'll save that till the end. But for now, just know that the program will randomly select the essay questions you have to answer. And you will be able to begin submitting to that program again on the Monday of exam week, and you'll have to submit by the end of the week on Friday of that week. So one other very critical point, this may be the most important point of this entire video, is that you will notice that once you open up the exam program, it's going to say that you have 20 minutes to submit your answers. Now you might be thinking, well, this doesn't seem like nearly enough time. Those essays seem pretty detailed, pretty long, pretty substantial. How could I possibly write out both of those in 20 minutes? And of course the answer is you'd be correct, you can't. Because that's not the way I've set it up. The way I've set it up is that by the time you click on the link for exam 1, you will have already written out your final answers to all 4 possible essay questions. And then once you click on the program and you see which questions you have to submit, all you have to do is find the document on your computer and upload it. And so I really cannot stress this enough. Do not click on the link for exam 1 until you are prepared to submit an answer for any of those 4 essay questions. Because once that 20-minute clock starts, that's how long you'll have to submit them, and there's no way you'll be able to write out sufficient answers in 20 minutes. And if you have incomplete submissions, then after 20 minutes, the program's going to just close, and whatever you have is going to be submitted, and that will be graded. So if you take nothing else away from this video, you should take away that do not click on exam 1 or exam 2 until you have written out and you have a document where you've written out an answer to each of the 4 possible essay questions you could see on the exam. Okay, so that's mostly what I want to say in terms of the basic format and requirements. Let's also talk a little bit about how I will grade you and what I'll be looking for when I grade your essays. And I think the best way to do this is actually look at one of the possible essay questions. So let's take a look at one of the questions from Lesson 2 from Plato's Euthyphro. And let's just look at the first one. So the first thing you'll notice about this question is it has number 1 and then Socrates' criticism of Euthyphro's third definition of piety. You might say, do I have to provide an answer to that? Well, no. So that's a title of the question. It's just telling you what the topic is. What you have to answer is everything in here. And one thing that sometimes throws students off is that you'll see the question is broken up into 2 parts, part 1 and part 2. So you might say, oh, do I get to choose which of those parts I answer? So the answer to that is no. There is no choice when it comes to the exam, right? The program will tell you which questions you have to answer, and then once you're assigned to answer a question, you have to answer both parts of it and everything that's included. And so the very first thing to say about how I'll grade you is just for completion. Do you have a response to every single thing that's asked about in the essay question? And so the way I think about it, like if you just read through this question, what is Euthyphro's third definition of piety? Well, you should have an explanation of the third definition. How is it different from the second definition? You should explain in a detailed way how it's different from the second. How does Euthyphro's third definition of piety make the discussion relevant for either monotheism or polytheism? You should have an answer for that. So each question or component of the prompt, I will have in mind a certain number of points that is worth. And if you simply don't answer that question or that part of the prompt, then you just won't get those points. So, which makes grading easy on me, of course, but is not really what you want to have happen. So the first thing is just make sure you have some answer that you address every single thing that's asked about in the question. Okay, so that's baseline, just completion. But then on top of that, of course, and one other point to make here, you also notice that, and this is not true of all questions, so notice that it's not true of question 2, But in question 1, there's this quote or passage from the reading. And again, some essay questions will have this, some won't. But another thing you want to make sure you do is if there is a passage like that, and you'll notice in part 2 it says, Socrates rejects Euthyphro's third definition of piety in the below passage. Explain how Socrates rejects that definition by making reference to the passage where appropriate. So there's all these questions in this part of the prompt, and what I want to see when you answer those questions is you making specific reference to this passage, showing you understand it, using your own examples, showing you've thought critically about that passage, showing that you understand how it fits into the context of the dialogue as a whole. In that sense, it's very much like the response papers, where I really want to see that you've done the work to be able to put the major points of the reading or the topic being discussed in your own words. Okay, so this starts to bring me into how I will grade you beyond just completion. So, of course, another thing I'll be looking for is not only do you answer every question, but are your answers accurate? But also, keep in mind that because this is an online class, and because this exam is in a take-home format, that means you have a lot of resources at your disposal when you're writing out your answers. And also keep in mind that you have a great deal of time in advance to write those answers out. So you have the video lectures, you have the lesson outlines, you have the readings. All this is available to you as you're writing out your answers. So what this means is that the standards I have in terms of grading are in some sense relatively higher for this kind of exam than they would be if you were taking this in class. If you were taking the same exam in class and writing out these essays in, let's say, an hour and 30 minutes or something, and you were doing it from memory, of course I'm not going to expect your sentences to be polished. Maybe not everything would be completely explained in a completely coherent way, right? But given that you do have time to write these out, I would have higher grading standards. And so one thing I'm looking for is not just that you sort of regurgitate phrases from my lectures, that you regurgitate things from the reading or that you've seen in the lesson outlines, but you really make a strong, honest effort to show that you can explain these points in your own way, and that you can show true understanding of what's being talked about. So in any case, those are the major things I'm looking for in terms of grading the essays. Now, the last thing I want to do in this video is to just take you through a demonstration of how to use the program. So let's just go back to Moodle and let's go to week 4. And here you'll notice that we have a link for exam 1. Now, right now I'm in the instructor view of the Moodle page, so it's going to be a little different for me right now. So if you clicked on exam 1 right now in your student view, it wouldn't actually allow you to start taking the exam or do a preview of the exam. But because I'm in the instructor view, I can do that. So I'm going to take you through how the program works. Also notice that it's going to give me, it's going to generate randomly selected essay questions, but this of course is not giving anything away, because the questions that you're going to see right now when I'm doing this demonstration will not necessarily be the same questions that you will see when you actually take the exam. So it's important to keep that in mind. Okay, so looks like I had a preview going before, so let's just go ahead and I'll just stick with this, right? So when you open up the program, what you're going to see it's going to present you with 2 essay questions. So here's the first essay question that you have, and if you scroll down, here's the second essay question that's giving you. And in this particular iteration, and on this particular time of using the program, it's given me the second question from the study guide and the 4th question from the study guide. But again, the ones that you happen to get when you use the program very likely will be different. Okay, so then what do I do? Well, but again, by the time you've clicked on exam 1 and you're ready to start the exam, remember, once you start, you will see a 20-minute timer that you don't see right now, in my view, but you will see a 20-minute timer. And when that timer goes off, it'll automatically submit. So again, I can't emphasize enough, please already have, before you click on it, 4 separate Word or PDF documents, each one of them with an answer to one of the possible essay questions. Okay, so you have all that ready to go. You've got your 4 documents. You say, okay, here's the second essay question. You go down here, simply choose a file from your computer, And here's my answer to question 1. So I upload this document. Okay, so I've uploaded a file for this question. Then I can scroll down to question 2. I can do the same thing. Answer to question 2, upload that file. Okay, so I've got them both uploaded. Now I'll click on Finish Attempt. And so at this point, one thing you can do is there will be a button here that's saying Submit All and Finish. Once you click that, your attempt will be done. But if you want to just make a quick check, you say, wait, did I upload the right document, or there's something you want to check real quick, you can go back. So I can click on question 1, and it'll take me here, and I can look at that document again, for instance, click Download. And there's the document I uploaded. Oh, here's my excellent answer to question 1. That looks good, right? So you can go ahead and check it again if you just want to make sure you upload the right document. But once you're comfortable with both of them, you click on Finish Attempt, and you click Submit All and Finish, and then you're done with the program. Oh, and you can see the documents you've used to upload your answers. So it's a pretty straightforward program. Really, again, the only thing to say is please do make sure you have all your essay questions written out in advance before you start. I know I've said that like 10 times, but it really is very, very important, or else you're really not going to get the grade on the exam that you want and, of course, that you deserve. Alright, so I think I will stop there. If anything I said doesn't make sense, if you have questions about the exams or really anything else, please do feel free to email me, and I will see you in the next video.